But experienced divers come here from all over the world to dive this incredible cave, and they often do it like us in the winter because the water's clearer.
Two Finnish divers tragically died at a depth of over 100 meters while exploring one of the world's most dangerous cave systems. The cave, notorious for its cold waters and narrow passages, has claimed the lives of several divers in the past. On a freezing February night in 2014, a group of 5 experienced cave divers set out to explore the treacherous Plura Cave in Norway. Suddenly, their adventure turned into a desperate survival struggle. What tragedy struck them? Want to know more? Stay tuned till the end. The Plura Cave system, located in Plura, Norway, is renowned among cave divers for its stunning beauty and extreme challenges. The system includes a Plura Cave, a submerged passageway, and dry Steinugleflåget cave. Together they form one of Northern Europe's deepest known cave systems. The Plura Cave is not for the faint-hearted. It features narrow passages, freezing water temperatures, and depths exceeding 130 meters. The visibility is often good, but the conditions can be treacherous, especially during the harsh Norwegian winters when the lake's surface freezes over. In February 2014, 5 Finnish cave divers set out to traverse this challenging system. The group included Kai, Kinkanen, Patrik, Grungivsk, Jari, Huotarinen, Vesa, Rantanen, and Jari Uusimäki. These men were experienced divers, familiar with the risks and rewards of cave diving. They meticulously planned their dive, ensuring all equipment was checked and double-checked. On the morning of February 6, 2014, the group arrived at the Jordbro farm in Rana, Norway. The air was cold and the ground was covered in snow. The divers carefully prepared their gear, knowing any mistake could be fatal. They donned their dry suits and heavy diving equipment, ready to face the icy waters of the Plura Cave. At 9 a.m., the first 2 divers, Kinkanen and Grungivsk, enter the water. They dived through a hole in the ice, slipping into the darkness below. The initial dive was smooth and the water was clear. They used underwater scooters to help them navigate the long passage to Steinugleflåget. 2 hours later, the remaining 3 divers followed. Rantanen, Uusimäki, and Huotarinen entered the water, their breaths steady as they dived into the cave. The plan was for all 5 divers to reach the Steinugleflåget cave, completing a traverse that would take them through the deepest sections of the system. At first, everything seemed to be going according to plan. The divers rapidly moved through the cave, following the route they had meticulously planned out. But as they reached the deepest part of the cave, trouble began to unfold. Around an hour into the dive, Grungivsk noticed that Huotarinen was no longer behind him. Concerned, he returned and encouraged his friend entrapped in a narrow passage. Huotarinen's cord had become stuck, and he was signaling for help with his flashlight. Grungivsk knew that time was critical. He tried to assist Huotarinen, but the tight confines of the cave made it nearly impossible. As the minutes ticked by, Huotarinen began to panic. He began breathing irregularly, increasing the risk of hypercapnia, a dangerous buildup of carbon dioxide. Grungivsk handed him an extra gas cylinder, hoping to stabilize his friend's breathing. But as Huotarinen switched mouthpieces, he started to gasp uncontrollably, filling his lungs with water. In a moment of sheer horror, Grungivsk watched as his friend succumbed to drowning. The sight was devastating, but Grungivsk knew he had to remain calm. He could not afford to panic himself, as he was at risk of hypercapnia too. After a brief attempt to free Huotarinen's body, Grungivsk decided to continue towards Steinugleflåget alone. Grungivsk swam deeper, knowing the risks that grew with each meter. The longer he stayed down, the more time he'd need to rest on the way back up to avoid getting the bends. This sickness, caused by nitrogen bubbles in his blood, could mean terrible pain, even death if he surfaced too fast. The other divers had problems too. Vesa Rantanen, the first one down, found Huotarinen's body. He had to decide quickly: go back up, squeeze past, and keep going. Rantanen decided to move forward, but it took much longer than planned for him to get back safely. Going through this tight space was also hard for Rantanen. Breathing became difficult, and he had to be careful with each rebreather so he wouldn't get too much carbon dioxide in his blood. Even though it was very stressful, Rantanen stayed calm and kept diving. Back at the surface, the remaining divers were unaware of the unfolding tragedy, as Rantanen and Grovsky struggled to make their way through the cave. Jari Uusimäki faced his own crisis. The Norwegian authorities later concluded that Uusimäki had panicked upon discovering Huotarinen's body. Due to erratic breathing, the amount of carbon dioxide in his rebreather increased. Kankanen, who was at the back of the group, found Uusimäki in trouble. He tried his hardest to help but knew he couldn't save his friend. With a heavy heart, Kankanen decided to return the way they came. The trip was long and difficult, but Kankanen's skills and strong will helped him through to get back safely. He came back up almost 11 hours after being underwater. He broke through a layer of ice to get back to land safely. He was happy to be alive, but also very sad that his friends were still stuck in the cave. He knew some of them might have not survived. The 3 surviving divers were immediately hospitalized with decompression sickness. The Norwegian authorities launched a rescue operation, but the conditions made it daunting. After several attempts, it became clear that recovering the bodies of Huotarinen and Uusimäki would be incredibly difficult. A well-known British cave diver, Rick Stanton, was called to help. Stanton and his team went into the cave many times and found Huotarinen's body stuck in a tight spot, blocking the way to Uusimäki. They decided it was too risky to get him out, so they stopped the operation. The Finnish divers were not content to leave their friends behind. They vowed to return and complete the recovery themselves. In March 2014, a team of 27 divers, including the surviving members of the support divers, descended on Plura. They plotted their mission, knowing that the Norwegian authorities would likely deny permission for such a risky operation. On March 22, 2014, the Finnish dive team started their dangerous mission to explore the Plura Cave in Norway. The most experienced divers, Grovsky, Huotarinen, and Kankanen, led the way. They were determined to find and bring back their missing friends, Huotarinen and Uusimäki. The dive operation was meticulously planned. Support divers were stationed at various depths in the cave to assist the team during the tricky decompression process while they came back up. This was crucial as cave diving is an extremely hazardous activity with many risks. After 3 grueling days of intense and risky work, the bodies of Huotarinen and Uusimäki were finally recovered and brought back to surface. The Norwegian authorities acknowledged the successful recovery mission, but reminded the dive team that they'd broken several important safety regulations during the operation. Despite the rule violation, the mission's main objective had been accomplished. The fallen divers were given a proper homecoming and their families could finally have closure. However, the tragedy also highlighted the immense dangers involved in extreme sports like cave diving, where a single mistake can have devastating consequences. The Plura Cave disaster served as a somber reminder of the importance of adhering to strict safety protocols, even for the most experienced divers. It was a heartbreaking lesson that underscored the fine line between adventure and tragedy in the world of extreme sports. The Plura Cave diving disaster was a stark reminder of the dangers inherent in cave diving. It highlighted the importance of meticulous planning, proper training, and remaining calm under extreme pressure. The diving community mourned the loss of Huotarinen and Uusimäki, but their deaths also sparked a renewed focus on safety. Kankanen, Grovsky, and the other survivors will also carry the memories of that fateful day. They witnessed the fragility of life and the devastating consequences of a single mistake in such a treacherous environment. Their story is a powerful reminder to all who seek to push the boundaries of exploration and adventure, respect the environment, prepare meticulously, and always be aware of the risks involved. Ultimately, the Plura Cave remains a place of beauty and danger, a testament to the indomitable spirit of those who dare to explore its depths. The memory of the lost divers will forever be etched in the hearts of those who knew them, serving as a poignant reminder of the thin line between adventure and tragedy. Thank you for joining us on this journey into the Plura Cave diving disaster. If you found this story compelling, please like and subscribe for more in-depth explorations of the world's fascinating and perilous adventures. And remember, sometimes the greatest stories come from the darkest places. That's all. Thank you.